We're going to talk more about the disruption after a global IT outage hit computer systems. We know, don't we, it was multiple countries and affected lots of people in different ways.
Let's talk to Dr. Stephanie Hare, who's a technology and ethics researcher. Dr. Hare, thank you very much for joining us. When this started happening, what were your thoughts in terms of not only the impact which we were seeing, but how technology is flawed and how it was allowed to get to that point?
So the first time that I was aware of it was actually on Thursday night. I was coming off of the BBC show that we do, Artificial Intelligence Decoded, and I saw reports of payment systems being down in Australia. And that would make sense because it was going to be nighttime for the UK, morning the next day for Australia. And I thought, is this something localized to the Asia-Pacific region? And by the time I woke up on Friday morning, it had exploded all over the world. So the first question I had was, is this a cybersecurity attack by a nation-state actor or a criminal, like WannaCry that we saw a few years ago? Remember that? It shut down all the hospitals here in the UK. Very dangerous, cost lots of businesses lots of money. But in this case, it wasn't. In this case, it was a planned software update by a company called CrowdStrike, whose job it is to actually keep companies safe from cybersecurity attacks. So the fire was coming from inside the building.
But how much was human error? I mean, that was one of the things that was kind of mooted, that it was human error that, in terms of this software update, not actually the technology.
Well, I think it's a process error. So this should never have been allowed to happen because you should be testing your software updates and making sure that everything is fine before you roll them out, particularly rolling them out worldwide. So I think what we've all had here is a really big wake-up call about how lacking in resilience our IT systems are. Now, by the way, that's not new. Anyone who's been working in IT, and particularly in cybersecurity, has known this for years. And we underinvest and we underinvest. And hopefully this is going to make people maybe stop talking about generative AI so much and actually start working on cybersecurity again.
So, Stephanie, who should be, in the terms of the process, who should be running those kind of tests before things are rolled out? I'm thinking, OK, let's talk about an airport, for example, which has the software. Does the airport take responsibility for making sure that its systems work and whenever an update is provided, it works? Or is it the technology provider?
No, it has to go really at the source. So in this case, it would be CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike sends out its software update, in this case affecting Microsoft Windows. So people who are running, for instance, a Linux open source operating system or Apple were not affected. It only affected people using Microsoft's operating system. And that's a known vulnerability in IT systems worldwide. That's about Microsoft's market share, right? Its dominance. If you hit Microsoft, if you can take them out in any way, accidentally or deliberately, you're going to affect most companies around the world, or a significant amount. I'm not being hacked, by the way, my earpiece is just falling out. So I'll hold it here. Resilience, use your hand, plan to fail. So what you need to do really is make sure that the testing environment in a company like CrowdStrike is top. And there is an argument that since Microsoft is so critically placed, they should also potentially have a role to play in making sure that if it's going to affect their systems, it's tested there as well. We could introduce a second point of failure, if you will, so that the onus isn't entirely on the CrowdStrikes of this world.
Dr. Stephanie Hare, thank you so much. Good to talk to you. Well held, I will say. Well held. Thank you.